please keep in mind that this learning module is based on opinions of professionals in our industry, and that you are best served by taking input from multiple sources. So let's get started. Most studies suggest that the average employer will review a resume for an average of 10 seconds. Some studies that we found indicated that it was more like 6 to 7 seconds. So it's become more of a science in that employers and recruiters are looking for key phrases and anything measurable that may prompt them to put you in the quote-unquote maybe pile. This learning module will cover 3 basic topics. First, basic fundamentals gathered from wealth management firms regarding their screening processes. Next, we'll look at several student-based case studies that will exemplify how to craft a resume. And then finally, we'll end the class with pointers and ideas about creating your online presence. So let's start with the fundamentals. Most employers interviewed stated to keep your resume to 1 page and keep it simple. Use a font that is free of added curves, hooks, or other markings. Use black type against white paper. Use a different type size for your name and the companies you have worked for, perhaps maybe your title. Go easy on boldface types, italics, and underlining. Now, some of this may seem very obvious to you, but the point is to keep your resume looking businesslike. Here are several other basic fundamentals. In order to create an impactful resume, you need to highlight the skills that you've attained that can easily be transferred into the business world. So for instance, examples like time management, project and relationship management, marketing, sales, creativity, flexibility, and then finally the ability to problem solve. These are examples. Crafting stories that sell your unique talents will help you land that job. Now be sure to include measurable skills if possible, and use action verbs wherever appropriate. The following are 3 actual case studies. Within the case studies, you will see how to present measurable results, skills attained, and action verbs in each specific example. The examples are how to showcase a summer job experience, how to showcase specific job or project work, and then finally, how to present your job as a student athlete. This first case study exemplifies how to present business skills learned in a typical summer job. The key is to present measurable results that are useful in a business environment. By articulating this person's responsibilities and tasks, this student presented them as easily transferable to the business world. When asked about this job, he was able to easily relate stories of how the self-learned business skills ultimately helped pay for a percentage of his college expenses. This case study showcases a student's project work during the school year. It illustrates initiative and the ability to work in a group and manage one's time. Notice the use of action words and the reference to the student's LinkedIn page. Keep in mind that those of you who have passed the InvestEd Institute on Campus course should highlight this achievement on your resume. Our last case study involves the student athlete. In this case, a prospective employer can easily see the people management and time management skills that this individual acquired. Also, when interviewed, the concepts of dedication to hard work and positive attitude can be discussed as evidenced by being the recipient of the Coaches Award and being elected team captain, or simply because of the duration spent in the sport, meaning all 4 years in attendance at college. Now keep in mind that this is not bragging. These are simply the facts that lay down some of the foundation of who this candidate is as a person. Now here's a few items you may want to consider excluding. Occasionally employers receive resumes that include an individual's photograph. Professionals we interviewed didn't deem a personal photo as a necessity. What they said was, if you want to present a professional headshot, do it so using LinkedIn. Additionally, a written objective often makes sense for someone who's been in the workforce for a while and is looking to change areas of interest. In the case of someone entering the workforce for the first time, an objective may not be necessary. The purpose of your resume is to present you in the best possible light to get that interview. So just keep that in mind. Let's wrap up on some final thoughts around networking, your use of LinkedIn, and finally the creation of your own personal brand. You've probably already heard this a million times, but it's worth repeating. Networking is a discipline, and you need to systematize your approach towards being hired. We could actually do a class on this one alone. Your first step in this process could be assembling your own board of directors. Now, kind of spend some time thinking about this one. Write down the individuals you know who have guided you over the years and those who can possibly help you today. Have your list of individuals who aren't even in the wealth management business. Write down specifically how you think these individuals can contribute. And here are a couple examples. Ask a trusted professor to put you in touch with someone in the industry. Next, maybe ask a friend your age who has landed a job in wealth management to review your resume or your LinkedIn profile and give you some feedback. And then finally, if you've had an internship, take advantage of asking these individuals you've worked for some help, maybe even a letter of recommendation. And then last, and this is very, very important, senior leaders that we have surveyed have stated multiple times that for whatever reason, most students simply don't ask for an assist. And generally, people want to help. They just need to be asked. So be specific. Be specific when you ask and how you ask. For instance, you could ask, would you help me review my resume? Can you help me in creating my database of leads? How do I translate my skills better to an employer? How can you help introduce me to a possible employer? People want to help, so please just keep that in mind. So what about using LinkedIn and other social media? A LinkedIn account is a must when actively searching for a job. A recent survey found that 96% of recruiters use LinkedIn to find a potential candidate. And they vetted these candidates through LinkedIn prior to their interviews 92% of the time. So make your LinkedIn page to the point. Avoid overwhelming amounts of text and personal uploads. A LinkedIn account is where you're going to want to post a report, a paper, as well as the completion of this program itself and how it helped you. LinkedIn also allows you to follow your target companies and locate college alumni, as well as connect with recruiters from various companies, and basically provides the platform for your professional network. And finally, keep in mind that an increasing number of employers are reviewing all social media, so it's recommended that you do a sweep of all your public content. So let's close out this learning module by talking about you and your brand. 3 things to discuss here. First, a professional email address. Make sure your email address is not silly or juvenile. Now we're being kind of picky about this, but it's very important here. If you have one of those email addresses, and we've seen these before, beerdrinkingbud@gmail.com, lose that and have something a little bit more professional. Next, ensure that your voicemail message sounds professional as well. If a potential employer calls you and leaves a message, you want the message to give the impression that you're a professional and serious. And then finally, as discussed earlier, LinkedIn has become a valuable tool that you should use to promote yourself professionally. A classic headshot in business attire will serve you well in this regard. So in closing, we hope you found this information helpful and once again additive to what you have already learned in school. Thank you for your time.